Herb. Herb is a plant. I mean, herbs are good for everything. Herb.
Welcome to Eugene Cannabis TV. Here we are, the our first segment on September, and we have some special guests. We have our friend David Evans, who's been on the show earlier, and he helped us out a couple years ago, and he's back, and his associate Stephen Gibson. We appreciate them coming in, and they're going to be talking about a new delivery service they're starting, the Emerald City Medicinal Delivery Service. So tell us about it. What's that about?
Yes, good to see you again, Dan.
Hey.
Yes. Emerald City Medicinal Delivery Service is a medical marijuana facility as well as a delivery service focusing on outreach into the community with regard to seniors and others who are disabled or shut-ins and have no access to their medicine. The state has already recognized the emergency status of the access plight of medical cannabis patients, and we want to respond to that. And so Stephen and I have been working together to bring this to the community to help folks out. We have a location on West 6th Avenue, 1474 West 6th in Eugene, that we're currently developing and will soon be open to be able to help patients out in the community. And you know, I think we're basically motivated by the fact that we've seen the medicinal benefits in ourselves and in other people, and you know, increasingly doctors and scientists are bringing out that information and verifying and discovering new things that cannabis can do medicinally. And we feel it's important to us in a moral sense to be able to help people to achieve that relief and a higher quality of life.
Fantastic. I got to be sure and add your business to my Just Say No flyer, because that's a resource information pamphlet or brochure that I put out. I've been putting it out for many years, so I'll be sure and update it with your information.
Thank you.
You bet. So, this is a neat deal, because I remember years ago I had a lady who called me, and she was housebound in a wheelchair and said she couldn't go anywhere. I don't know why not. I mean, you know, but anyway, she said she was housebound in a wheelchair, and she wanted to know if anybody could deliver medicine to her. And I mean, this has been a couple of years ago. So this is fantastic. I can see a great need for this service.
Mm-hmm. And you know, we believe that there is that profound need out there, and we want to be able to go out into the community and serve a function also as a resource for educating people about you know, the medicinal benefits, the OMPP program in general, and how our new enterprise is going to be able to help people to achieve better quality of life.
How do you do any testing, or do you go by any testing standards as far as medicine that you deal with?
We're currently seeking out a lab that will meet our standards.
Okay. Yeah. How about M-Scale? Are you familiar with M-Scale?
Indeed, yes.
I don't know what ever happened to them. They seem to have disappeared, but that was a great idea. I don't know what happened.
It's kind of a good shorthand, but it's something that we're familiar with, and we can certainly evaluate our medicine in terms of an M-Scale for our
What we're talking
patients.
about is different medicines will affect people differently, first of all, so different strains will affect people differently. Also, different strains are found to have, some have more properties, better properties for doing one thing, for instance, like helping fight a headache.
Migraine.
Migraine, thank you, migraine. Others are good for helping combat nausea. Anyway, so it's really, if you can find a system to where you can, you can classify medicines that way, it's a big help to patients, and that's what M-Scale was. Sounded like a great idea, but it seemed to have kind of run out of gas or something. I don't know, but there are more and more laboratories, I know, as far as the labs for testing for THC content and CBDs and toxic and all that stuff. There's been more and more labs out there now. So
increasingly, yes, and there are some very good ones out there. There are some that I think perhaps taking advantage of the medical cannabis community in seeking a larger amount than necessary for testing purposes.
Absolutely.
And they're utilizing that material as the basis to generate products on their own.
Yep.
You know, it would seem to be an intrusion into their customers' rights as well as kind of opportunism.
Wow, yeah. Interesting. Well, that's, you had any feedback from law enforcement, or how do you expect to be able to circumvent any problems with law enforcement, or how are you going to do that?
Well, you know, we believe it's time for a more proactive, open business model.
In fact, excuse me, I mean, I thought maybe we should bring up HB 3460, and that's the main reason why your timing is such as it is, because because SB 3460 was signed, and was passed and was signed into law, and it'll take effect. When is it?
March 1st.
Year? It's not first year, is it? It's
No, it's March 1st in terms of when the Oregon Health Authority needs to have promulgated its guidelines. And
so March 2014 then. So
right.
Okay.
But interestingly enough, 3460 also says that the bill is in effect once it's been enacted, and it's been enacted by the legislature and signed by the governor.
Okay.
And so in that sense, because the state has recognized the emergency and fast-tracked the legislation, it understands the plight of medical cannabis patients.
I didn't realize that. Wow, that is good. So, yeah, I see what you're saying. So in other words, the state system won't be functional supposedly until the 1st of March, but that doesn't mean we can't move forward with the other aspects as far as how it pertains to distributing medicine to the patients.
Exactly, and the statute itself also says that the Oregon Health Authority can be proactive in trying to prepare for this. You know, they needn't wait until closer to that deadline to be able to be prepared, to have a thoughtful system in place to be able to help medical cannabis patients and those that are interested in providing some consistent, safe, effective relief for them.
I know I've had, 2 or 3 years ago, I've had phone calls from, well, one in particular, the guy in Junction City had 2 businesses, or 2 buildings in Junction City, and he was wanting to open a dispensary. And I told him then, I said, it's not yet, you're a little too early, it's not happening yet. So that's really neat that now it finally is happening. Some people complain about the commercialism and how, but the thing is that I say put the resource out there. If a person can't or doesn't want to pay the fees, then go somewhere else. But at least it's there for people that do want to and can, and so I say more options the better.
Yes, yeah, hopefully. You did bring up a point a moment ago with regard to law enforcement, and as I said, I believe in a much more proactive and forthright relationship with law enforcement, and so I'm hoping this week to be able to arrange for meetings with the chief of police, the sheriff, our mayor, and talk about how we can be a good citizen in the community and address any of their concerns in the process.
Have an open house where they can all come down and see the facility.
Yeah.
Obviously, there will be no product there or anything, but yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a great idea.
But they're perfectly, they're very welcome to come to the open house, check us out, see what we're all about, and hopefully any of the concerns that they have will be assuaged by our business practices and the consistency and our commitment to our patients in the community.
Excellent. Do you know that our Mayor
Piercy.
Kitty Piercy is very supportive of medical marijuana? I don't know if you knew that or not.
I have attended events where she's been there and spoken, and so
she's twice, I think it is, declared city proclamations. Making the first time was Medical Marijuana Day, and then the next year or 2 years later, I've forgotten, she proclaimed a Medical Marijuana Week in Eugene. And she said that when she spoke at, I think 1 or maybe 2 of our global marijuana marches too.
Yes.
And she said that she knew she would take a lot of political heat for that, but she didn't. She said it was worth it. She believed it. Apparently, she had a friend that had breast cancer, I believe it was. She saw how it helped her friend, I guess. So, anyway, it makes believers out of people that ordinarily, I've had people call me on the normal thing, that have never thought they would ever have anything to do with pot in their lives. and then all of a sudden they come on their later years, and they come up with a malady, and they find out about marijuana, and they try it, and they're just amazed. And I get the calls all the time, and they're feeling uneasy because it's really kind of weird. It's kind of pseudo-legal, but and so everybody's kind of still nervous and peeky around, and they're, so it's a weird position, but it's getting more and more accepted all the time.
Yep.
So
Every day it seems to be more and more accepted.
And you know,
it needs to be.
Yeah, and we, you know, that I think just indicates that we need to be educators and committed toward a higher standard in our community as far as that.
So Stephen, how did you get into this? What's your experiences with medical marijuana?
I use it for pain relief. I've got a couple of, well, we're not sure, but there's a couple of discs in my lower back that are wandering around. So, but it helps me function every day. So, and that's the main thing. So you gotta keep on keeping on.
I found, I've read different places that 60% of medical marijuana patients have their card for chronic pain.
Yeah, chronic.
And that's a state figures, and national is very, very close to that, 60%. And I also was told, I don't know if this is your experience, but marijuana doesn't stop the pain; it just makes it bearable.
Yep.
Is that accurate?
It depends. I've had they've got some creams that are pretty good for the pain relief. It'll actually stop the pain for a reasonable amount of time.
Topical, yeah. Well, that's a good point, and that brings us up another thing. Rick Simpson oils. Are we?
RSO oils.
Do you have sources for that type of?
We do.
Yes.
Wow.
We do indeed.
Yeah, that's really something. Check out Rick Simpson.
It's amazing.
The race. What is the race? Oh, I can't remember the name of it now. What he calls his thing. Run from the cure. Run from the cure. Yeah, run from the cure. I think he calls it. But people are running for it. Pot, you know. But they actually very, very high strength dosages. It's not something you just jump into immediately. You have to work your way up to it.
Work your way up to it. Yeah.
It makes it's incredible. Rick Simpson. Just check out Rick Simpson and oil. Those three words, I guarantee, will bring up what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And learn about it. It's amazing. It's just absolutely amazing what it can do. And I'm amazed. I talk to people all the time. And people that are anti-pot, they'll say, well, all that is just anecdotal. And it ticks me off when I hear the word anecdotal, because to me it's like a way of saying, oh, it could be all in your head. You know?
Yeah.
And my comeback is, well, therefore, I'd like to see you tell some of the people I know that are patients that it may be all in their head, because I'm standing back.
And rightly so. That's as valid a medical input as any kind of research study.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You bet. Maybe it's all in your head, but it helps. Yeah.
Well,
but anyway,
the science
really
is going to bring it out.
Yeah.
Science is really going to bring it out.
Yeah. It's just amazing. So I really appreciate you coming in and letting us know about it. You're welcome to come on anytime and talk about it. If there's any particular subjects on marijuana, you're welcome to come on.
Well,
always looking for guests.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because we don't have guests, and we're just stuck with Eric and Joseph and I, so we need guests. No, we got some great crew here, and we got some great talking come up about the Seattle Hemp Fest, so get an inside track on that. So we're going to wrap it up and get out here and be back for the second segment, so we'll see you then.
Are you tired of following all the rules? Ready to let loose? Have a little fun? Sounds like you need to. Get high. And with Narcomex Incorporated, your direct-to-consumer drug trafficking solution, you can. Narcomex values your business. That's why we're your #1 supplier of drugs, and you're our #1 consumer. These billions can't be wrong. We work hard for your business and have killed not 1, not 2, but 3 Mexican police and 2 journalists just to keep you high with that very joint. Why, our commitment to keeping you supplied has killed over 17,000 people right next door. Traffickers, soldiers, journalists, prosecutors, you name it. We're that passionate about your business. We've even begun to destroy some of your favorite tropical beach destinations. Because if you smoke enough at home, you don't even need a beach. But don't legalize it or grow it at home. Let us do the work for you. Sure, consumers boycotted evil companies, but there's no need to boycott Narcomex Incorporated, your direct-to-consumer drug trafficking solution, also offering heroin, meth, and cocaine. Narcomex Incorporated. Live a little and forget others won't.
Welcome to the second segment of Eugene Cannabis TV. We got DanK. I think I forgot to introduce myself the first segment. So you got DanK here, the host of the show, and we've got some our special friends and co-hosts. Eric, I'm next to me with the Medicinal Horizons, and we've got Joseph with the greener side.
Hey guys.
And if you've heard of the greener side, you know how great people they are, and they're out to help patients. That's their whole bag. And so, great people. And I advise strongly getting a hold of both these, either one of these people. There you go. I wanted to talk about the Hemp Fest real quick. The Emerald Empire Hemp Fest, we're working on 2014 already. And I had something really exciting happen yesterday. We have our first vendor for the Hemp Fest.
Very nice.
And it's called Vape Oregon. That's all I know about them so far. So I assume they sell vaporizers. I don't know whether they make them or they just dealer. I don't know.
Kicking it off already? They jumped
right in, yeah, $250 into our PayPal account, bang. That was the notice I got, and it said 2013, and I thought, well, whoops, they missed the Hemp Fest, you know. And I got a hold of them, and they said, no, we want a booth in 2014. I said, okay. So that's great. We can get started right away. That'll be the money we can get our T-shirts. See, we want to get T-shirts first thing, so we can help promote the event. Boom, there's no money for the T-shirts. So.
See, you can already be a vendor for that event.
That's right, yeah, definitely. You can be a vendor for that and sign up now and then help us out a whole bunch, because I like to help people. It takes a lot of money to put on a free event. So we definitely need the operating capital. So
the community really appreciates it too.
Yeah. So the Emerald Empire Hemp Fest, and check it out on the website. It's coincidentally at emeraldempirehempfest.com. And you can download the current, we have the new 2014 vendor application as well. It's volunteer application. So we need a lot of help and volunteers, big time. We need people that are computer savvy. We need some real techs who can help us work on some of our equipment. We need PR people, big time PR people. We need to get the word out. We need graphic people. So we need just about everybody that can do something that help us out. So anyway, we've got a lot of stuff to cover here. First of all, we had a big bust here locally, and this was on the 26th. At least it was in the Register Guard on the 26th. Pot bust, one for the record books. It says about 40 federal, state, and county law enforcement officials teamed up Sunday to remove by helicopter an estimated 3,000 marijuana plants from 3 stands in rugged terrain in the Willamette National Forest of Westford. I used to haul logs. I've spent a lot of time running up and down the roads in Westford, and that is a steep country. That's a great place to grow.
Yeah, sure.
It was kind of interesting to watch the news footage of the out of shape cops humping up and down the hills, you know, sweating like pigs, and having
they got to get their exercise somehow.
Yeah, it was fun to see them actually working. It's just too bad they're working for nothing, you know, cutting down a beautiful plant. But anyway, 16 individuals were lodged in the county jail. They estimated the value about $20 million. That's always suspect, because they always figured out, okay, let's see, that's $25 a gram, and then how many grams are in? And
not to mention they weigh the root balls, the roots,
exactly.
All the dirt that comes out with it.
Yeah, they weigh everything. That you're not going to, so. The reality, maybe a quarter of that would be my guess. But
well, Dan, one of the things that concerned me was when this story first broke on the news, they mentioned that they had believed that this place had been in operation since 2007, and just like a lot of these types of grows are found, it was happened upon by a Forest Service worker. And one of the things that I've mentioned on one of the past shows before is if they were focusing more of their time on these type of things and flying their helicopters over the national forests and not busting medical providers. I mean, these people, as much as I believe, you shouldn't, no one should go to jail for growing a marijuana plant. If they're gonna, send any resources after anything, it should be, if these are true to be cartels, this is where their law enforcement should be directed at, is cartels destroying, the national forest, throwing chemicals and toxins into the watershed. But one of the biggest complaints I've had with the local law enforcement is that they haven't been putting their attention towards these type of things. This one, while it's a big bust, it happened by accident. This was luck. These guys weren't, out there looking for these people. They happened upon them, and I'm glad it happened, and they weren't going after another medical provider. But there's a lot
it's
of
unfortunate that the low-lying fruit are the ones first picked.
Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, and I remember many years ago, a friend of mine in Humboldt County told me, we were talking about the eradication and all that, and I remember then he said, "Don't worry about it." He says, "They're only scratching the surface."
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. This is, they could have not even done this and it wouldn't have mattered. I mean, that's the reality.
I'm wondering
of
how
it.
many other farms are out there just like that,
Oh yeah, just a couple miles away.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I wrote a letter to the editor, and it was published on August 30th. They published my letter to the editor saying it's time to re-legalize marijuana. I wrote the August 26th article about the law enforcement raid on a marijuana growing operation north of Westford, pot bust one for the records, is another example of why cannabis, marijuana, needs to be re-legalized. I say re-legalized because before 1937, its growth and consumption were legal. It's all about supply and demand. As long as there is demand, there will be a supply, albeit at vastly inflated prices. And vastly inflated prices mean big profits for growers, especially illegal growers. Let's end the war on marijuana and take the profit away from the cartels. There will be 2 re-legalization initiatives out soon seeking to put the issue on the statewide ballot again in 2014. Let's get it right this time. So that was in the Register Guard, and I appreciate them publishing it, and hopefully the people will...
yeah, that's pretty awesome, and it shows that, it doesn't matter who you are, get your opinion out there, and,
and that's
people
how you
can see it.
That's right. We're all fighters. You can always fight back. I always like to say, they say the pen is mightier than the sword. Oh, this is the drug war. It's a war against us. And if the pen is a weapon, and I say pick up your weapon and fight back. Yes, and use it and fight back. And so that's one thing we can do is a letter to the editor. You can always write letters to politicians.
And you don't have to always write them on defending something. If you see something that is a positive, such as all the movements going on, write a thank you letter to the people that actually, stand up.
And that boy goes a long ways. When our Hemp Fest, we got a letter from a neighbor saying that we were doing such a great job. I'm telling you, that one letter, really, just everybody went.
Yeah, it really fuels the fire in the right way.
So we've got a quick talk about something going on in Corvallis, and then we got to have a Seattle Hemp Fest report from Joseph. So this is a support group formed for medical marijuana. The Corvallis Cannabis Support Group had its first meeting last week with 5 people in attendance. Organizer Ed Glick is hoping the monthly meetings will grow as word gets out. I think the need has been around for a long time because of the fragmented services and lack of services that exist to assist cannabis patients. Glick, a former nurse and longtime advocate for medical marijuana, said the purpose of the group is to help people determine whether cannabis could be useful for their medical conditions and provide a supportive atmosphere for discussion of difficulties encountered in working with doctors. So anyway, they're meeting once a month, and we have that they're meeting at the second Wednesday of each month. They're meeting at the offices of CAN, Research, Education, and Consulting at 551 Southwest 4th. Next meeting will be September 11th. And we have the information here, so you send an email to DanK Bagmount at Hotmail, and I can get that information to you. And these guys, you want to mention something about that?
Oh, I was just going to say that it's a very good service that they're providing, especially for the people that have really no idea what cannabis is as terms of medicine, or just trying to figure it out. Because if you don't know cannabis is medicine, then you won't know about the topicals that were mentioned earlier, or the vaporizers that you can use, or any vast cannabis is so vast that if you don't know, you might just miss something that is going to be very helpful for you.
Yeah, not to mention this group, CAN Research, Education, and Consulting, those guys are very educated on the subject. They know what they're doing. If you have a chance, it's up in Corvallis, if we didn't mention that. So if you're up in that area, even if you're just from here, just go up and check it out. It would definitely be worth your time.
Yeah, definitely go in there and give them your ears. You got.
And I mentioned the Seattle Hemp Fest report from Joseph, and I mean, it's Eric that went to the Seattle Hemp Fest, so tell us about Seattle Hemp Fest. How did that go?
Yeah, it was better than my expectations. I highly, highly suggest anybody, whether you're from Oregon, anywhere in the United States, go. And there was actually an article in The Stranger. It's a publication up there in Seattle, and one of the questions was does the Hempfest matter anymore now that it's legalized in Washington? What's the purpose? They've won, and so this guy wrote this article and said, is it relevant? And basically the gist of his article was that it was relevant, and one of the reasons why I can absolutely say it was for anybody who's been in this movement for a long time, anybody who's had friends go to jail, had themselves gone to jail, or had the police at their door. I know the feeling, it's not cool. To have and see this experience, to be able to go, I was telling Joseph here and I was telling Dan that it's basically in a park right along Puget Sound. It's been there for 22 years, but this was the first year since the legalization initiative passed. And the experience is just, I could sit here and tell you about it, but you really have to go. Basically, you're allowed to smoke openly in the park, freely, with whoever, anybody, anything you want to use. It was way more open than I thought, but the main thing that I tell everybody was in 3 days of 300,000 people, I didn't see a single fight. I didn't see anybody pushing or shoving. There was no yelling, there was no cursing. And like I say this all the time, I've been in a bar with 5 people that knew each other and a fight breaks out, everybody drinking beer. So one of the things that I tell everybody is even if you don't go, just go up there and watch and see what this basically was a big social experiment, and one that is succeeding tremendously.
It definitely does matter, considering Obama, for one, still won't change his mind on how cannabis is helping a vast amount of people in his country. That shows people that this does matter. It definitely should not decease or go away, because people can then look at this event and realize that how far it's come.
Yeah.
Real quick note, this weekend, Hempstalk, Saturday and Sunday. I believe that's the 6th and the 7th. Don't quote me on that, but go check it out. Hempstalk, S-T-A-L-K, hempstalk.org is the website. I'll be there Saturday at 12:30 speaking, and that's a heck of an event. It's free to the public, so go. It's up in Portland. And that's
See you guys next week.
If you're an adult who enjoys a good beer, there's a similar product you might want to know about. One without all the calories and serious health problems. Less toxic so it doesn't cause hangovers or overdose deaths, and it's not linked to violence or reckless behavior. Marijuana. Less harmful than alcohol, and time to treat it that way. For more information, visit marijuanaissafer.org.